Alright, today we're going to take a look at the Ego CS1600 chainsaw. It's got the 16-inch bar on it, that's why it's the 1600. The CS1400 only has a 14-inch bar, so that's the difference there between them, the main difference anyway. Now, we got ours in the kit that comes with all the goodies here, and the kit number is actually a CS1604 if you want to get the kit with the battery, the charger, and the saw. That's definitely the more economical way to do it. It saves you a little bit of money when you buy everything together. So I guess before we get into this, your main thing is probably wanting to see how this thing runs and see it in action. So we'll see how it works before we show you all the features of it. Okay, so now for the more important details here of the saw and the package that you get here. Again, this is the CS1600 chainsaw. It comes with the scabbard for over your bar. Keep everything protected, your bar and your chain while it's in the back of your pickup or whatever. Nice piece to have. Got a 16-inch bar. This is actually an Oregon chain on here, so if you do buy this somewhere that you don't have a Ego dealer nearby, you can go out, you can get this matched up by any place that sells regular chainsaw chain or something. They can get something for you. So that's not a big deal there. Nothing that you should be concerned about and keep you from buying one of these. We've got toolless chain removal and tensioning. So all you got to do is loosen this knob up here, and then this is your tensioner, and you can loosen up the tension on this chain or tighten it back up by just simply turning that knob up top and then tightening down the bar again. And because this isn't a gas-powered saw, it's battery-powered, it's got a lot less vibration, so there's less chance of that coming loose than there would be with a toolless setup on a gas-powered saw. Inside here, this chain is a direct drive setup. There. This is your bar. This is your pin that's connected to your tensioner to put the tension onto the chain. That's the end of your electric motor right there. That's what we mean by direct drive. There's nothing in between there. No belts, no gears, no nothing. Just directly on the shaft of the motor. So you don't have a whole lot of lag time there. Once you squeeze the trigger, this thing is rolling. Show you something really important here on these chains. They actually use inside the hole where, that's a little tough to see, inside the hole where the pin goes for the adjuster, there's one on either side of it, so you can flip the bar over, but inside there's actually a groove, and that's how your oil comes up through. The hole that would be on the top would get the oil coming up, pushed up through it to put on your chain, and then the chain circulates it on the bar. the bottom hole, of course, whichever way you put it, the bottom hole is used for your adjuster. So it's always important to keep that hole cleaned out so you can get your oil circulating through there so you don't ruin your bar and ruin your chain. And for anybody that's wondering, this does have the grease hole up here at the front, so you can put some grease on the bearing for the nose roller. And you can see right there, this is also not just an Oregon chain, but an Oregon bar. You got a direct drive, so you can, as we said here, you know, that's your electric motor. Chain goes right on it. And then right here is where your oil comes out. It's automatic oiler setup. Again, this is the pin for the adjuster. So you can see as we move this, it's going to move that pin. Now, it also has on the front, it has the screw head there. So if you really wanted to use a screwdriver, you could, but you know, you're going to take the chance of maybe stripping something out in there. So we suggest just go ahead, use the knob up here, makes it easier. That way you don't over tighten anything and ruin it. You know, guys have a tendency to over tighten their chain and put a lot of drag on there on the bar and the chain, and it robs a lot of power from the saw trying to just get it going. So then to put the chain back on, you got to put your bar on here, get your teeth in the sprocket on the end of the shaft of the electric motor, get your chain in the groove, your bar, and drop it in there. Oops. Get your pin lined up to your bottom hole there, and you put a little bit of tension on there, not a whole lot, just enough to kind of keep everything in place for now. Put your cover over it, snug your cover up, and then add the necessary chain tension to your saw. There we go, pretty good there. Then you just tighten it down the rest of the way, and that's all there is to it. You know, it's not overly tight, it's still gonna roll free. You can see the teeth are on there and going the right way for anybody that doesn't know how to put a chain on. So there's that part of it. Now, on top here we got two handles. This one is actually an inertia activated chain brake, so if the chainsaw does kick back, your hand, your wrist will hit that, and it activates the chain brake. It'll stop this chain dead. So if you go to start it, the chain won't move. Release the chain brake. It's probably your problem. The back here, it has a safety button. You're gonna have to squeeze it before you can get the chain to start moving by squeezing the trigger. So if you try to just squeeze the trigger, the chain's not going to go anywhere. Hold the button in, squeeze the trigger, and you'll be up and running. Got a bar oil tank right here. Holds about, it's about 5 ounces of bar oil. Little sight window there so you can see how much is in it. Of course, your battery goes in here, right inside of here. You'll be able to see that there's a electric motor in there. That, of course, is the one where the shaft comes out the other side. That's your key component. So I'll show you here. Battery in, chain brake engaged. Push the safety button in, squeeze the trigger. You get nothing. Take the chain brake off, safety button in, squeeze the trigger. And there you go. Like I said, if you squeeze the trigger without the safety button in, you can see it doesn't do anything. So that's all that. Battery is a 5 amp hour battery. All the batteries have their details right there on the side, on the logo, or on a label, I should say. Power button here, hit that, and if it turns green, you got a charge in there. It doesn't tell you how much, but you know you can at least go out there and run it for a while. If this starts flashing different colors while you're running it, then you've got a battery problem. You need to go see your dealer about getting that checked out and possibly getting it replaced. This is the typical standard charger. Has the green LED, the red LED on there, and you got the little codes back here of what each light means when it's doing something. So pretty straightforward there. Not a whole lot to get involved with that. So that's the bulk of it here with this saw. pretty good run saw. It stays consistent, you know, it doesn't bog down, it doesn't just shut off because it's got too much of a load on it, just keeps going. I thought it ran pretty well in the tests we put it through. You know, it seemed to get the job done. They rate this thing to do, I think it's about 300 cuts through a piece of 4x4 lumber on one charge, one full charge with this 5 amp hour battery. So that's pretty impressive. And again, I can't stress enough that if you're going to buy one of these, buy it in a kit. You know, I think this one here right now retails for, I thought there was a price on this. I think it's a little over 300, but it's not a bad deal considering you get this 5 amp hour battery, and you can use that in your trimmer, your hedge trimmer, your leaf blower, and get extra runtime out of them by using this bigger battery. Most of that stuff, you know, you're going to buy it with a 2.5 amp hour battery, so you can double your runtime right there with this big boy. If you have the mower, like a push mower, or the self-propelled mower that comes with a rapid charger, throw this on there, it's going to charge up way faster than using that standard charger. Just something to keep in mind. So our final thoughts here on the Ego CS1600 chainsaw, the Ego CS1604 chainsaw kit. You know, it's really up to you which way you want to buy this saw, but I highly recommend, as I've said before over and over again, buy the kit. You can't go wrong buying the kit with what you get. You know, you get that extra battery, and that is going to do so much for you in the long run. You know, we mentioned you can use that in your other equipment and stuff like that, but it's going to make this saw just more effective because it's going to run longer before you got to stop to charge the battery or stop to replace the battery. Run times are very deceiving when it comes to battery equipment because most people, when they think about chainsaw runtime and a tank of gas, they don't realize how much time that chainsaw spends idling. You know, think about this. If it's not cutting through the wood, it's not running. It's not using any battery power. So it's going to run for a long time on a single charge. A few things to look at here. The saw itself, bar and chain in the saw weighs about 9 pounds. That 5 amp hour battery, that's about another 5 pounds there. So it's got a little bit of weight to it. It's about the size and weight of a regular gas powered chainsaw. This saw does have the inertia activated chain brake like we showed you. You do need to buy bar oil. Don't think just because this is a battery powered saw that you don't need any kind of oil for it. No, you do not need gas. No, you do not need the oil to mix with your gas to make that 40-to-1 or 50-to-1 ratio. But you do need bar oil. Plain and simple. Pick up some good bar oil, maybe some Husqvarna brand, some Echo brand, something like that. Don't skip out and get the the Ace or the Master Mechanic stuff. Get something decent so that your equipment's going to last. This is a really well-built saw. You know, I had no issues with it. It ran great. This is a good residential homeowner saw here. You know, somebody that's doing the occasional limb cutting, tree falls down in your yard, a little bit of firewood here and there. That's what this is for. You know, you're not going to go out there, you're not going to drop like 24-inch round trees and stuff like that, hours on end, week after week or day after day, something like that. Yeah, we get it. This isn't a professional logging saw, but it does the job that it was built to do. And you can, smirk at it all you want and say, that it's just not a real saw. It is a real saw. It cuts wood. You saw it in the video. That's what it does. This is built for a specific group of people, a specific consumer. That's what this is for, and that's who it works for. This is for the people that don't use a chainsaw all that often and end up with those carburetor problems and the expensive carburetor repairs. This is for the people that don't want to mix up those gallons of gas at a time just to have most of it go to waste because they're going to use the chainsaw for, maybe an hour or two one weekend, over the summers, things like that. Maybe somebody just wants to cut up some campfire wood, whatever, This right here is the way to go if you're that kind of person. If you don't have to use a chainsaw all that often and you just want to have one on hand for the times you do need to use one, pick up this Ego chainsaw right here. You'll get that bigger battery, which you can use in your trimmer, which you'll use more often over the summertime. You can use that battery in your leaf blower. You can use that battery in a hedge trimmer. This is going to be a pretty big benefit to you buying this kit and then having that chainsaw on hand. Now, don't just think that the only benefit to having this battery-powered chainsaw is not having gas, or not having to buy gas. You get so many other benefits with a battery-powered piece of equipment, and this goes for any brand. You have, of course, no gas, which you're going to save money on there. You don't have to mix the gas and the oil together. You don't have those carburetor problems from the gas just sitting in the thing because you hardly ever use it. You don't have to worry about pull starting it. So this makes it easier for elderly people to use, people with arm problems, back problems, whatever. It's easier to operate and use all across the board. You don't have the exhaust. You don't have as much vibration. You don't have a hot muffler if you're out in the woods and you got the dry leaves and stuff like that. You are cutting wood with it, remember? So no worries of catching anything on fire there. It's very simple to use, very easy to use. You can even use it indoors if you want because there is no exhaust. So if you're doing some kind of chainsaw carving or something like that, there you go. If you're teaching a class, some kind of safety class, or even like a VOTEC class or small engine class, something like that, you can use this indoors. I mean, the list goes on and on to the benefits and the positives of battery-powered saw. Really, if you're not using one that often, definitely look into one. I put this Ego right up there against some of the best of them. It's one of the top ones out there. I've ran quite a few of them, and it's pretty impressive. It doesn't seem like it's going all that fast or that it's really cutting away, but it is. It doesn't bog down, it doesn't slow down or nothing. For me, I mean, out of all the ones I've ran so far, I've got this one and the Husqvarna, the 536 from Husqvarna and the 120i from Husqvarna up there at the top of my list. I know Ego's working on some other stuff. They got some commercial equipment coming out, so keep checking back because I'm sure they've got a bigger chainsaw coming out, and it probably won't be long till we'll be seeing it. So, if you are doing bigger stuff, there you got that to look forward to. But final thoughts are, if you get the chance to run one of these, go for it. If you're looking for a good quality battery-powered saw and a whole system of battery-powered equipment, check out the Ego stuff. You're not going to go wrong with any of this Ego stuff. We've ran plenty of it and no issues and no complaints. So as always, we hope you enjoyed our video. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comments section here on this video. If you like what you see from our channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there and keep checking back because we're always putting new stuff out. So we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks again for watching.